I have watched you walk through moments that silenced your spirit, times when you questioned whether I was ever really near. But now, I cannot stay silent any longer. I have waited not because I was distant, but because I wanted your heart to be still enough to truly hear me. This isn't a passing whisper. This is the voice of your Savior calling you with urgency because the hour has arrived. I am not speaking to frighten you. I'm speaking to wake you. I've seen you stand at the edge of decision, holding back because of fear, confusion, or weariness. I've waited through your tears, your doubts, your rebellion, and your silence. I've waited while you sought answers from everything and everyone else. But now, my beloved, this moment is sacred. The clock does not pause. Your soul is precious, and the battle around you is real. I am not just asking for your attention, I am calling your spirit to rise. You cannot afford to delay any longer. I am the same voice that calmed the storm, healed the broken, and raised the dead, and I am speaking now, not with anger, but with the deepest love that eternity can hold. I have waited long enough, not because I was unsure, but because I was hoping you would turn toward me by your own desire, not by pressure or panic. But now the atmosphere is shifting, and if you do not hear this now, you may miss what I am preparing. I am not a distant God. I am right here, right now, in this very breath, reaching into your heart. I'm not holding your past against you, but I cannot let you ignore this invitation. Everything I've ever promised you is on the other side of this moment. Hear me now, because what I have to say is not just for your comfort, it's for your calling. And I will not wait forever. You must understand, time does not yield to anyone. It does not pause because of your hesitation, nor does it wait for your comfort to catch up with your convictions. It moves forward with purpose, whether you recognize it or not. And though time is not yours to command, your choice is still your own. That, my child, is the gift I gave you, the power to choose me. Even when time feels like it's slipping away, even when you feel like you're falling behind or missing what others seem to be receiving, I remind you that what matters most is not the ticking of the clock, but the turning of your heart. You can still respond. You can still change the direction. You are not out of reach. You are not too far gone. Right now, in this breath, you can choose to align with me, not because time agrees with you, but because your heart surrenders to me. Every decision you make writes the path you walk. You don't realize it yet, but what you choose in this moment will echo into everything that follows. I'm not trying to rush you, I'm revealing the importance of what's before you. Many wait for perfect conditions before saying yes, but the ones who walk in my promises are those who respond even when clarity hasn't yet come. The ones who move because they trust me more than their uncertainty. Time may not be yours, but faith can be. Trust can be. Obedience can be. That is what makes the difference, not how much time you've lost, but what you do with the time you have left. There are doors about to close. There are windows that are narrowing. And this is not to scare you, but to bring your focus back to the urgency of what is real. You are not battling against flesh and blood, you are wrestling with distractions that aim to rob you of divine moments. You feel the tension not because you're failing, but because heaven is drawing close, and the enemy knows your breakthrough is near. That's why this moment matters. That's why your yes right now is more powerful than you know. Do not let the enemy trick you into thinking you can delay, and everything will stay the same. Some things are tied to now. Some things require this moment, this decision, this surrender. You don't need to understand the full picture to take the first step. You don't need to control time to live inside of purpose. Your breakthrough isn't bound by your age, your past mistakes, or your fear of the unknown. It's activated by obedience. And I've seen the battle you've been in. I've seen how you've wanted to choose me but felt weighed down by all the pieces you still don't understand. But here's what I want you to know: choosing me isn't about having it all figured out. It's about trusting that I already do. It's about placing your time into my hands and letting me redeem every second you thought was wasted. There is something divine happening in the unseen, something that will shift your atmosphere when you release your desire to control what isn't yours and instead grab hold of what is your yes, your surrender, your belief. Right now, even as you hear these words, I am speaking to parts of your spirit that have been waiting to wake up. This is the moment they rise. I am not looking for perfection, I am looking for your permission. And if you give me your yes now, I will take what time you have and make it overflow with purpose, beauty, and miracles that were written for you long before you were born. Time is not in your control, but eternity is leaning toward you. Choose wisely. Choose now. You've walked near the threshold for a while now, sensing there's something on the other side meant for you, yet hesitating, unsure if you should step through. That moment of invitation wasn't just a feeling, it was an opening I crafted for your destiny. But I must speak plainly now. What hath been held open for you will not remain that way forever. There are divine appointments that come wrapped in time, and when they are missed, they do not always return in the same form. This door I placed in front of you is not merely symbolic, it's sacred. And I'm calling you to move with urgency, not out of fear, but out of understanding that grace creates opportunities, but you must walk through them with faith. You've assumed there would always be more chances, more time to get it right, more room to keep delaying. But I say to you, the moment to decide is approaching its edge. What I'm offering is not just relief from your struggle, it's a path into your purpose. The door was never meant to be just admired or analyzed, it was meant to be entered. Every hesitation has caused you to drift, and the more you wait, the louder the noise of the world becomes, drowning out my voice. But even now, I am reaching out, pulling back the veil, showing you that this is not just about you, it's about every life tied to your obedience. Your yes will unlock more than you know. There are blessings stacked behind this door, answers you've prayed for, healing you've longed for, clarity you've cried out for. But they are not going to force themselves into your life. They await your movement. I am not hiding anything from you, but I will not leave doors open forever when they are continually ignored. To delay further is to risk forfeiting what I prepared specifically for this time in your life. I do not say this to shame you, I say it to awaken you. There is still time, but not much. You must decide what matters more, comfort or calling, routine or revelation, safety or surrender. Do not let the familiarity of your current season deceive you into thinking it is permanent. Just because you've learned to survive here doesn't mean this is where you're meant to stay. I placed that door in your path not because you were ready in your own strength, but because I was ready to carry you through it. The weight of stepping forward has never been yours to carry alone. I have already gone ahead, preparing what your eyes have not seen. But unless you take the step, you won't experience the shift. Some of you are waiting for confirmation that I've already given. You've asked for signs, and I have sent them, not just once but repeatedly through dreams, through words, through situations that stirred your spirit. You've known this door wasn't ordinary, but fear told you it wasn't safe. I'm telling you now, it's not about safety, it's about surrender. The time for indecision has passed. The clock is not just ticking, it's pointing to destiny. If you don't walk now, you may find yourself looking back, not just with regret, but with the painful realization that you stood before something eternal and chose the temporary. But hear me, if you move now, even trembling, I will meet you with power. I will flood your path with light. I will surround you with grace that gives strength beyond your understanding. This is the moment, not later, not tomorrow, not after more signs. I'm speaking now, and the door is still open, but only for a little while longer. Let your spirit rise and take the step, not because you feel brave, but because you trust the one who calls. The door you feared walking through. On the other side is everything your soul has been longing for. But it will not stay open much longer. There were moments I called to you gently when the stillness of night wrapped around you, and your heart stirred with something unexplainable, yet undeniably real. I whispered in the quiet between your thoughts, in the pauses of your pain, in the silence that followed your questions. I reached into your atmosphere without thunder, only presence. But the volume of the world has increased, and my gentle taps have been muffled by noise you didn't notice creeping in. I did not grow silent. I remain patient. But when patience is mistaken for distance, it becomes necessary to speak in ways that cannot be ignored. You've grown used to dismissing my nudge as coincidence, as imagination, as emotion. You've interpreted divine guidance as passing feelings, brushing them aside with the assumption that something more obvious would follow. But clarity doesn't always come with flashing signs. It comes in the way truth clings to your conscience, even when you try to move past it. I've sent confirmations in ways tailored to your heart, not your logic. But when the heart is hardened by constant postponing, the whispers start to fade. So now, I must speak with greater force, not in anger, but out of the gravity of what is approaching. I do not raise my voice to frighten you. I raise it to break through the layers of distractions that have made it hard for you to see the direction I've already revealed. There's too much at stake now. Too many promises are on the brink of fulfillment. Too many people are waiting for what you carry. Your silence in response to me isn't harmless. It's delaying movements in the lives of those connected to your obedience. You do not walk alone. Your choices ripple outward into eternity. This is not merely about your peace, it's about legacy, redemption, release. So listen closely. I am calling your name with clarity that can no longer be mistaken. I am shaking the ground beneath your comfort zones, because you weren't made to stay hidden in places I'm no longer blessing. I'm disrupting the patterns that made it easier for you to blend in when I called you to stand out. This intensity you feel is not punishment, it's mercy dressed in urgency. It's my way of bringing you out before the door shuts, before the harvest withers, before what you were made for is reassigned. You thought I would continue to speak the same way forever, but I speak according to the need of the moment. When love demands thunder, I will not whisper. When truth requires awakening, I will not stay soft. I am the same voice that spoke galaxies into being. I will not be silenced by indecision. If I must shake your world to wake your spirit, then I will. Because I would rather see you uncomfortable and alive than complacent and distant. I would rather you tremble in surrender than sleep in delay. You matter that much to me. You say you want signs, but I am becoming the sign. I am not only speaking to you, I'm speaking through everything around you. Open your eyes. Can you not sense how things are shifting? Can you not feel that something beyond explanation is drawing closer? These are not ordinary days. These are moments saturated with destiny, and I will not allow my chosen ones to sleep through them. I'm sounding the alarm because I see what you can't. I see the schemes forming, the traps being set, the opportunities being stolen in the background. And I am speaking now to pull you out of what's beneath you and into what I've prepared ahead of you. This is not just a louder voice, it is the voice of the one who shaped your soul, who has waded through every doubt, who has watched you lean on lesser things, yet never walked away. I'm not here to condemn, I'm here to realign. But alignment requires attention. No more delays. No more tuning me out. No more postponing what you know deep down is right. My voice is rising, and it will not be silenced until you respond. This moment is holy. This message is direct. And this call is for now, not later. There was a time when my presence stirred something deep inside you, when even the smallest moment of stillness opened the floodgates of awareness that I was near. But somewhere along the way, you adapted to absence. You adjusted to the quiet until it no longer alarmed you. That's not because I left. It's because your heart learned how to function without feeling. You surrounded yourself with activity, distractions, obligations, all of which kept you busy but numb. And now, you don't even realize how distant your soul has drifted from mine. Not because of rebellion, but because of gradual neglect. You didn't choose silence, but you settled for it. And I'm here to awaken something that has gone too quiet for too long. You were never meant to live spiritually dry. You were created to burn with passion for the one who made you. But when the flame dims, the enemy doesn't have to destroy you, he just convinces you that emptiness is normal. That spiritual hunger is unreasonable. That being numb is safe. But you weren't created to survive in survival mode. You were created to carry fire, to reflect glory, to walk in communion so real that you don't question whether I'm with you. You live from the overflow of knowing that I am. But that kind of intimacy can't exist in a heart that has forgotten how to feel me. You don't need a new routine. You need a new rhythm, one that begins with desire, not duty. I'm not asking you to try harder. I'm asking you to return to your first love. Remember when my presence moved you to tears without explanation. When worship wasn't a performance but a lifeline. When scripture didn't feel like obligation but sounded like breath. That tenderness didn't disappear, it was buried beneath the weight of life. And I want to dig it up again. I want to stir that soil until it breathes again. You've been asleep in areas where you used to thrive, and I'm speaking now to your soul. Wake up. I don't want robotic prayers. I don't want empty words. I want you. I want your honesty, your questions, your pain, your silence, even your confusion. I want all of it. I never asked you to perform. I invited you to participate in a relationship. But relationships suffer when presence is ignored. And that's what has happened. I've been here. I've been speaking. I've been drawing near. But your heart adjusted to distance and called it stability. But there is no real stability without me. You've held yourself together on borrowed strength, while I stood ready to fill you with power you've yet to touch. Let me in again, not just into your schedule, but into the deeper places where your thoughts race, where your loneliness hides, where your strength crumbles when no one is looking. Let me revive your awareness of me. Not just the knowledge of my existence, but the experience of my presence. You were made for that closeness. Without it, you'll always feel off balance, no matter how put together things look on the outside. The silence you've become used to has created an illusion that you're fine. But I didn't come to make you fine. I came to make you full. You think feeling again will make you fragile, but I tell you it will make you alive. I want to awaken your senses, open your eyes, unclog your ears, and restore your heart's ability to recognize me, not through others, not through ritual, but through personal revelation. You don't need to be told how to encounter me, you need to step into the invitation I've already extended. I want you to feel my closeness again, to recognize my hand in your life, to sense my spirit speaking in the stillness. But that won't happen if you remain satisfied with silence. You were created to dwell in the atmosphere of my presence. And now I'm reigniting that calling. I'm breathing on what's dormant. I'm stirring what hath been sedated. No more settling for numbness. No more pretending absence is normal. I'm restoring your sensitivity. I'm reviving your heart. Feel me again, not through force, but through surrender. I'm closer than your next breath. Let your spirit remember what it's like to be overwhelmed not by the world, but by my love. I need you to understand this. My tone is not that of frustration, but of passionate urgency. I am not standing before you as a judge waiting to punish, but as a savior with arms still stretched, pleading with the heart I designed, the life I breathed into, the soul I've never stopped watching over. I don't approach you with condemnation, but with longing, the kind that aches when love is continually delayed or misinterpreted. I've seen how life has worn you down. I know the bruises you hide and the fears you carry beneath the surface. I felt the distance you've convinced yourself is justified. But I haven't come to shame you, I've come to remind you that no matter how far you think you've gone, I still want you. I still choose you. I still pursue you. This is not the voice of wrath, it is the cry of love too deep to remain quiet. It is the sound of heaven knocking on the door of your hesitation, asking to be let back into the places you've locked away. You see, I'm not speaking now because I'm giving up on you. I'm speaking because I never will. What you interpret as pressure is actually protection. What you feel rising in your heart, that stirring, that discomfort, that confrontation with truth, it's not to break you down, but to wake you up. Love doesn't sit back when someone it cherishes is on the edge of ruin. Love steps forward. Love speaks up. Love does not wait for perfection before it reaches. That is the love I have for you, not fragile, not conditional, not hesitant. It's fierce. It's persistent. It's relentless. And it will keep reaching until you truly know you're not alone in the places you've tried to face by yourself. You've misunderstood my silence as disappointment, but I've only been waiting for the right moment, this moment, to break through the fog around your heart. You think I'm angry because others spoke about me with harshness, because people used my name to instill fear, because religion wrapped my grace in guilt, but that's not who I am. I am not the one who pointed fingers when you fell. I was the one kneeling beside you, waiting for your eyes to meet mine again. When you failed, I didn't flinch. When you wandered, I didn't turn away. I've always known your capacity to rise again. I see what's buried inside you beneath the brokenness. And I know what could still blossom if you gave me the space to rebuild you. I speak now not to scold, but to rescue. I raise my voice not in fury, but in fierce affection. I urge you not as a master demanding loyalty, but as the one who laid down his life just to give you the option to come home. Please, don't misread the urgency in my voice. This is not me punishing you. This is me loving you too much to let you drift into destruction without one final reach. This is me reminding you that your soul is priceless and your future still holds glory. I don't want part of you, I want the you that cries when no one sees, the you that doubts but still hopes, the you that wants to be held even when you don't know how to ask. I know every corner of your story, and still my love hasn't flinched. You cannot outsin my grace. You cannot outrun my presence. But you can reject my offer, and that's what breaks my heart, not because it offends me, but because it keeps me from healing what hurts you. So no, I am not angry. I am not distant. I am not here to strike you down. I am here, in this holy space between your pain and your promise, holding out my hand again, not forcing, not demanding, just asking with the gentleness only true love can carry. Come closer. Let me in. Let me show you that my heart for you has never changed. This isn't about religion. This is about relationship. And everything in me wants to restore what life tried to steal. You may have grown used to disappointment, but I am not like what failed you. I'm not mad at you, I'm madly in love with you. And I'm still pleading, not because I'm desperate, but because you're that valuable to me. From the very beginning, I designed you with intention, marked you with distinction, and breathed into you a calling that does not conform to this world's fading standards. You were never meant to look like everyone else, walk like everyone else, or settle into systems that have no place for my presence. And yet, I've watched you shrink your light, soften your convictions, and dilute your purpose just to feel accepted in places I never sent you. The world has tried to redefine you, dress you in labels I never gave, and train you to value applause over anointing. But deep inside, you know you're not like them, not better but different. Set apart. You feel it in the conflict you carry, the restlessness that lingers even after worldly success, the ache in your soul that no temporary pleasure can cure. The tension isn't failure, it's a sign that your spirit refuses to be caged by a culture that does not know your creator. You've tried to hide the parts of you that make others uncomfortable, the depth, the discernment, the hunger for more. But I place those very traits inside of you not to burden you, but to guide you. You carry a spark from heaven itself, and no matter how much the world convinces you to dim it, it will not be extinguished. That discomfort you feel in certain places, that hesitation when everyone else says yes, that sense of being too much or not enough, it's not a flaw. It's evidence that you are not made to fit in where I never meant for you to stay. You are my vessel. You carry eternal weight in a temporary world. And because of that, your walk will look different, your path will be narrower, your choices will be challenged, and your obedience will be tested. But that is where you will find the depth you've been craving. The world that surrounds you is fading. It promises you everything and leaves you empty. It builds idols out of fame and forgets the power of faith. It glorifies noise but ignores the whisper of truth. And while you've been tempted to compromise, I've been calling you to rise. You feel the pull, don't you? The pull to go back to what's easy, but the deeper pull to go forward into what's holy. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are my ambassador, my messenger, my image bearer. That identity does not come with camouflage. It comes with a cross. And yes, it will cost you comfort, but it will pay you in peace that never leaves. Don't be afraid of standing out. Don't be afraid of walking alone. You're not alone when you walk with me. I never called you to mirror the world, I called you to mirror me. And that means your love will be misunderstood. Your purity will be mocked. Your hope will be questioned. But none of this should shake you, because your approval doesn't come from men, it comes from your Maker. If you continue chasing validation from those who don't value truth, you'll forever silence the voice of destiny within you. I did not put breath in your lungs for performance. I put it there for purpose. I am calling you out not to embarrass you, but to elevate you, to free you from the exhausting game of imitation, to release you from environments that celebrate your silence but reject your calling. You were born to be bold, to speak what others are afraid to say, to love with purity, to carry light into darkness, and to bring change without needing credit. The world may never applaud you, but heaven rejoices every time you choose me over what's trending. You don't need to blend in, you were made to break through. And the more you yield to who I made you to be, the more your life will shine with power that cannot be denied. So stop running from what makes you different. Start embracing what makes you chosen. There's no reward in a life spent blending in when you were born to lead with truth. Let the world forget me, but you never forget who you are in me. Your identity was never supposed to be a reflection of culture, it was always meant to reflect my glory. And that reflection only grows clearer the moment you stop hiding and start walking boldly as the one I called, the one I formed, the one I placed in this time for such a purpose as this. Before time began, before the stars took their place in the heavens, I had already envisioned you. Every detail of your being, your voice, your gifts, your struggles, even the precise hour you would walk this earth was crafted by my hands, not as an afterthought, but as a masterpiece with a role no one else could fill. The world might call it coincidence that you exist in this generation, amidst this chaos, during this unfolding story of history. But I do not operate through randomness. I position with precision. I align timelines, generations, and bloodlines to birth someone exactly like you for this very moment. Your life, even in its imperfections and detours, carries the mark of my design. You are not the result of chance. You are the result of intention. There is a rhythm in you that beats in time with my divine plan. Even when you felt lost or overlooked, you were never outside the reach of my orchestration. You have been divinely threaded into this time not simply to exist, but to reveal something of heaven to a world that's forgotten its creator. You carry assignments that are eternal in value, not because you've always seen them, but because I've always known them. I shaped your personality with purpose. I permitted your pain with a promise. I allowed your journey to bend not to break you, but to build in you the kind of character that cannot be copied. You weren't dropped into this life haphazardly, you were sent, chosen, released into time to reveal my goodness in ways only you can. There were moments you doubted your significance, seasons you felt invisible, experiences that made you question why you were ever born. But those very questions are proof that the enemy fears what you were made to accomplish. The attacks weren't random, they were calculated attempts to blind you from seeing your divine origin. Because if you ever truly understood the magnitude of your placement, you'd walk differently. You'd speak with authority. You'd pray with boldness. You'd stop waiting for others to validate what I already stamped as chosen. You'd stop comparing yourself to paths that look shinier but are less anointed. You are not behind. You are not mistaken. You are not late to your purpose. You are exactly where I knew you'd be when I first spoke breath into your lungs. Your journey hasn't disqualified you, it's actually prepared you. Every closed door, every delay, every heartbreak, every lesson you didn't ask for, all of it has been woven into the greater mission I've assigned to you. Nothing has been wasted. The detours didn't cancel your calling. They deepened your understanding of it. What you thought was a season of silence was actually a season of setup. I've been building your foundation in private so that when the time comes, your impact in public won't crumble under pressure. You were placed here, in this generation, on purpose for purpose. And there are people waiting to see me through the way you live, speak, love, and lead. Don't dismiss your life because it doesn't look glamorous. Purpose isn't measured in applause, it's measured in obedience. And I see every yes you've whispered when no one else heard. I see every time you stood for truth when it cost you relationships. I see how you've carried burdens with grace, interceded with tears, and kept walking when your strength was gone. That isn't weakness, that's evidence of calling. That's what proves you were made for something beyond yourself. I placed eternity inside your heart, and nothing temporary will ever satisfy what I designed to be filled by divine mission. You weren't just born to survive. You were placed to represent me. So stop questioning whether you matter. Look around. The evidence is everywhere. The battles you've survived, the peace you've protected, the growth you've embraced even through storms, those are signs that your life carries weight. This is not an accident. You are a piece of my divine strategy. You are my message wrapped in human form, walking through a world in need of light. And I have not forgotten why I sent you here. I am still committed to what I started in you. Walk in that truth. Believe in that reason. Live like someone who was placed, not misplaced. There isn't a single cry that has left your lips that has vanished into the air. Not one sigh, not one groan, not one whispered hope hath been overlooked by me. You may have thought that your words faded into silence, that they disappeared into a void where nothing ever came back to you. But I tell you the truth, every word you've spoken in prayer has been gathered, told, and remembered. I don't treat your prayers as echoes. I treat them as treasures. While the world may forget your voice, I have stored your every utterance in the eternal chambers of heaven. I am not a distant king with deaf ears. I am the God who bends low to hear even the softest plea that breaks from a trembling heart. You may not have seen immediate answers, and that delay convinced you that I didn't listen. But timing and neglect are not the same. I never turned away. I never ignored you. In fact, many times, I leaned in closer just when you felt like giving up. The problem is not that I didn't hear, it's that you assumed my silence meant absence. But my silence was never disinterest. It was divine timing orchestrating more than you could see. I am not confined to your understanding of what is quick or convenient. I am shaping the unseen while holding your requests in my hands, lining people, places, and moments in ways that will blow your mind when you finally see it unfold. There are prayers you forgot about, moments where you poured your soul out in the dark, never expecting a response. But I didn't forget. I kept them. They weren't discarded. They became part of your future's foundation. Even the prayers that came out as questions, even the ones soaked in anger, confusion, and fear, I held them close. Because I'm not afraid of your rawness. I welcome it. I'd rather hear an honest cry than a rehearsed performance. I know the language of a breaking heart, and I know when someone's voice is carrying more than words. That's why I not only collect what you say, I discern what you mean. There are depths of you that only I understand. You've often thought your voice was too small to matter, especially when life grew overwhelming and your prayers felt more like survival than sacred moments. But I want you to know that I don't rate your prayers by eloquence or volume. I measure them by sincerity. A groan of pain carries more weight with me than 1,000 rehearsed declarations. A whispered help me from a place of surrender moves more in the heavens than a polished speech with no heart behind it. Your prayers have never needed to be perfect, they've only needed to be real. And you've been more real with me than you know. I have seen how you returned to me again and again, even when it felt like nothing changed. I've watched you choose to hope when all logic screamed otherwise. That faith, fragile as it felt, is precious in my eyes. Your persistence in prayer, your refusal to completely let go, your repeated coming back to me even with shaky hands and weary eyes, that is faith in its purest form. And I reward that kind of faith, not because you've earned it, but because I cherish it. I am not collecting your words to evaluate you, I'm collecting them to fulfill them. Nothing you've ever spoken to me has been wasted. I've recorded your please-like promises waiting for their appointed hour. I've wrapped your questions in my mercy and held your heartbreak inside my compassion. When the answer didn't come, I gave you strength. When the delay lingered, I covered you with grace. And when you felt like you had nothing left to pray, I let my spirit intercede through you in groanings deeper than language. Even in your silence, I heard the sound of your soul calling out to me, and I responded, even if you couldn't yet tell. So hear me now. Your voice has power not because of how loud it is, but because of who hears it. And I have not only heard, it has moved me. Don't stop praying. Don't stop hoping. Don't stop believing that what you poured out before me has planted seeds that are now breaking through the soil of time. You are closer than you realize to seeing what you once only dared to ask for. I have kept your words, and I will answer, not one forgotten, not one lost. Every single word has been held in my hands, and the time of release is near. You thought you bore that weight alone. You believed no one truly understood the ache that sat quietly inside you, the unspoken sorrows, the heaviness you hid behind smiles, the wounds time refused to erase. But I was there for every second of it. I was never just watching from a distance, I was present, closer than breath, absorbing the pain that tried to steal your peace. You didn't always feel me, but I was under the surface of every heartbreak, holding your shattered pieces before they could slip too far apart. What overwhelmed you didn't overwhelm me. What tried to break you didn't catch me by surprise. I entered into your sorrow, not to observe it, but to bear it with you. My shoulders have always been stronger than your suffering, and I have never let a single tear fall unnoticed. There are wounds in you that the world never saw, but I saw. I felt them before you gave them words. When your spirit groaned, when your body trembled in the quiet moments no one else witnessed, I was already there, catching every unspoken word and translating it into intercession. I never stood outside your sorrow, I walked into the fire with you. Not once did I let you cry alone. Not once did I allow your burden to grow without offering my strength to match it. I know what grief feels like, I lived it. I know what betrayal tastes like, I endured it. I know the sting of being misunderstood, abandoned, and broken. That's why I never turned away from your pain. I stepped into it fully, because I loved you too deeply to remain on the sidelines of your suffering. You often asked, why didn't you take it away? But my love wasn't proven by removing every hurt, it was revealed in how I never left you in it. There were times I could have taken you around the storm, but I chose to walk you through it, because what was forming in you mattered more than what was happening around you. I didn't let the pain crush your purpose. I allowed it to purify it. What tried to destroy you only deepened your dependence on me. And now, what was once unbearable has birthed a quiet strength inside you that nothing can replicate. It wasn't a sign of abandonment, that was a sign of refining. The moments you cursed your weakness were the same moments I was perfecting my power in you. You felt like a failure, but I saw a fighter. You thought you were breaking, but I saw you blooming. And even when the weight seemed too heavy, I was underneath it all, shouldering what you could carry. I shared your burden in ways you'll never fully understand on this side of eternity. And one day, when you see it all from heaven's side, you'll realize how many dangers I blocked, how many nights I carried you, and how much grace surrounded you even when you felt abandoned. I am not blind to what you've been through. I'm not asking you to forget it or pretend it didn't happen. I'm asking you to let me redeem it. I don't waste pain. I transform it. I take the very things the enemy used to wound you and turn them into tools that shape you. What left scars on your body will become strength in your spirit. The memories that haunt you will become testimonies that heal others. The ache in your heart will become the very place where my presence dwells most tangibly. I'm not just healing you, I'm restoring what you thought was lost forever. You've carried enough alone. It's time to stop pretending you're fine and let me take what's still hurting. You weren't meant to carry that alone. Let go of the guilt, the shame, the pressure to be strong on your own. I am your strength. I always have been. When your knees buckled under grief, I was there holding you upright. When your voice broke from crying, mine was singing over you. When you felt numb and disconnected, I was silently wrapping you in my nearness. And even now, I'm still doing it. You don't have to carry this anymore. I already have. You've waited, again and again, for the sky to open, for some grand signal to confirm what your heart already suspects, that I've been near, that I've chosen you, that there is purpose in your path. You look to the stars for confirmation, to circumstances for proof, and to people for validation. But all along, I've been pointing to something far greater than outward evidence. I've been pointing to you, not to inflate your pride, but to awaken you to truth. You are the very sign you were seeking. The breath you carry, the resilience you've shown, the light that refuses to die in you no matter how dark the season. That is not coincidence. That is me. I didn't just write miracles into books of old. I write them into people. I place divine marks on lives, and I use them as living evidence that I am still working, still speaking, still transforming hearts in a broken world. You are one of those lives. You are proof of mercy. You are a walking declaration that my grace is not a theory, but a power that changes real people. When you made it through what should have crushed you, that was a sign. When you forgave when you had every right to stay bitter, that was a sign. When you kept praying even after silence, when you kept loving even after betrayal, when you kept standing even when everything fell apart, that was me moving through you in ways louder than thunder. The enemy tried to convince you that you were insignificant, that you had nothing to offer, that your story didn't matter. But if only you could see how many lives are being touched by the way you keep going. You underestimate how much light pours out of you simply by being faithful. You think your life is small, but I see how it disrupts the darkness. I see how your presence shifts atmospheres. I see how you carry peace into chaos without even realizing it. You keep asking for me to send something new, while I've been showing you that I already placed the miraculous within you. You don't need lightning bolts or voices from the sky to believe what I've already confirmed through your journey. Do you not remember how many times I've rescued you? Do you not see the favor that follows you even in dry seasons? The fact that you're still breathing, still seeking, still open to hearing me in a world that's drowned in noise that's not ordinary. That's divine persistence. That's the fingerprint of heaven resting on a life that refuses to settle for less than purpose. And yes, I've placed signs around you too, but don't miss the one that's been in front of you the whole time. You are a sign that I still restore, that I still raise up the weary, that I still equip the overlooked to carry something eternal. Even in your weakness, you point others to my strength. Even in your questions, your pursuit shows the world I am worth chasing. You don't have to have it all together to be used by me. I'm not glorified by your perfection, I'm glorified by your surrender. And every time you say yes when it would be easier to hide, every time you choose obedience when comfort calls louder, every time you choose me over your own understanding, you reveal that the Spirit of the living God dwells within you. That is the sign. That is the proof. You don't need to become someone else to be used, you only need to become aware of who you already are in me. So stop waiting for external permission to walk in the authority I've already placed inside you. Step into the room knowing that heaven backs you. Speak when I give you words and trust that your voice carries weight because I am the one behind it. Love boldly, live surrendered. Stand firm and know that even when others doubt, even when they don't see what's been deposited in you, I see it. I planted it, and I will make sure it bears fruit in its time. You asked for a sign. Look in the mirror. You are living proof that I still move through ordinary people to fulfill extraordinary things. Before you ever had the chance to impress anyone, before you did anything that looked noble or spiritual, I had already claimed you. My choice of you was never based on your qualifications, your track record, or your outward image. I didn't live for flawlessness, I lived for willingness. I didn't demand perfection, I desired relationship. And long before you had the capacity to love me back, I had already wrapped my love around your soul with a decision that eternity cannot undo. You spent far too long trying to earn something that was freely given. You keep thinking my favor increases or decreases based on your behavior, but I don't operate by the world's standards. My love isn't performance-based, it's covenant-based. I chose you not because you had it all figured out, but because I've always known who you truly are beneath the layers life forced you to wear. I saw the real you, the one not yet formed in the womb, the one who hadn't yet taken a breath, the one the world hadn't wounded yet, and I said, that one is mine. I didn't ask anyone's permission. I didn't wait for a vote. I didn't check with your history. I made my decision based on who I created you to be, not who the world convinced you were. My choosing was rooted in love, not logic. That means your past cannot unwrite it, your mistakes cannot cancel it, and your doubts cannot void it. I didn't select you because you stood out in a crowd. I chose you when you felt invisible. I called you when no one else believed in your voice. I assigned you a purpose when all you could see was pain. And now I'm reminding you that nothing you've walked through has disqualified you from what I've placed inside you. Yes, you failed. Yes, you've wrestled with weakness. Yes, you've fallen into things you said you never would. But I am not surprised by your humanity. I stepped into it myself. I know what it means to be misunderstood, tempted, rejected, even betrayed. And I still said yes to the cross, not just to forgive you, but to prove that my love would never be based on your ability to keep everything together. I knew there would be moments you'd fall apart. That's why I came to be the one who holds what's broken. I knew you'd doubt yourself. That's why I made sure you'd always have access to my voice, so I could remind you of who you really are. The world tells you that worth is earned through status, image, strength, and applause. But in my kingdom, it's different. I value surrender over spotlight. I reward intimacy over achievement. And what matters most to me is not what others think of you, it's the reality that you're mine. That truth is the anchor I want to plant deep inside you. You are mine, not temporarily, not conditionally, not because you're doing everything right, but because I made you, I redeemed you, and I have sealed you with my spirit. You belong to me in the deepest sense possible. And when the enemy tries to drag you into shame, guilt, and self-hate, I want you to remember that my choosing is unshakable. You're not trying to earn your way into my presence, you've already been invited. You're not begging to be noticed, you were seen before the first sunrise. You're not competing for love, you are already loved without measure. The things you think disqualify you are often the very things I plan to use. Your scars will become stories. Your weakness will become witness. Your journey will become someone else's map back to me. And none of it depends on perfection, it depends on me. And I don't change my mind. I chose you before your first breath, and I'm still choosing you now. So stop waiting to feel worthy before you come closer. Come close because you are mine. Walk boldly not because you have all the answers, but because you are connected to the one who holds all things together. The world may forget your name. People may misunderstand your path, but I never will. I chose you when no one else saw value, and I will keep you when everything else falls apart. Not because you're flawless, but because you're forever mine. Not a single tear you've shed has been overlooked or wasted. Even the ones that no one else noticed. The ones that fell silently under your pillow when the world thought you were strong, those tears were sacred to me. I saw them all. The ones born from deep disappointment. The ones from heartbreak you couldn't even explain. The ones from feeling invisible, forgotten, or simply exhausted from carrying too much. They weren't just emotional responses, they were prayers in liquid form, falling from the soul, expressing what your voice couldn't. And I honored each one. I didn't turn away. I didn't grow tired of your weeping. I leaned in closer, because each tear told a story your words never could, and I treasure what comes from the core of who you are. There's never been a moment when you cried alone. Even in the isolation, even in the confusion, even when you thought I had turned my face away, my gaze never left you. I have stored your tears, not as memories of misery, but as seeds of glory yet to come. You see, I don't treat your sorrow as weakness. I treat it as sacred evidence of a heart that has felt deeply, hoped boldly, trusted in vulnerability, and longed for more than this world could ever offer. You didn't cry because you were broken beyond repair. You cried because your soul recognized that something greater was calling, even when life didn't align with that hope. And I have always responded to your tears with compassion, not condemnation. You thought I was silent during those long nights, but I was closer in those moments than you'll ever fully comprehend. I wasn't standing back, waiting for you to fix yourself. I was kneeling beside you, holding you through the sorrow, allowing my strength to be what carried you when your own ran dry. You asked if I cared, and my answer has always been your survival. The fact that you are still here, still breathing, still fighting to believe again, that is proof that I never let go. You were not alone when the world felt empty. I was wrapping you in my presence, even when you couldn't feel it. And those tears you tried to hide, they were more powerful than you knew. They moved heaven. You've been taught that tears are something to be embarrassed by, something to be hidden. But I tell you now, they are honored in my kingdom. I count them. I gather them. I remember everyone. Your vulnerability is not a flaw. It is the reflection of a heart still tender toward the things that matter. The heart that hasn't been fully hardened by life. And that tenderness, it invites my presence in a deeper way. Because I don't only dwell in strength, I draw near to the brokenhearted. I am not only the God of rejoicing, I am the God who sits in the dark with you. The God who hears even your silence and understands it as worship. And now I want you to know, I am turning your tears into testimony. What once fell in sorrow will rise in song. The grief that once felt like it would consume you will become the very place where my healing springs forth. The emotions you thought were too messy for me, I've already woven them into a story of redemption that will touch lives beyond your imagination. Nothing you've endured hath been for nothing, and no emotion you've expressed has gone unrecognized. I'm taking what you thought was lost in sorrow and crafting beauty from it, not just for your sake, but for those who will encounter my goodness through what you've walked through. So lift your eyes not in denial of what you felt, but in faith that I've seen it all and I will respond. You're not forgotten. You're not ignored. Your tears have not vanished into the air, they've been caught by eternal hands. I am not finished. I am building something beautiful through the pain. Every drop that fell from your eyes is rising now as evidence that your heart has been seen by heaven, and I will answer with joy no one can steal. There were seasons when everything felt silent, when the darkness grew thick and the road ahead vanished beneath your feet. You asked where I was. You wondered why I let it happen, why the suffering lingered, why prayers seemed to echo unanswered through empty skies. You looked around and saw others advancing, thriving, celebrating victories while you struggled just to hold yourself together. And in that silent ache, you started to believe the lie that I had turned my back on you. And perhaps I'd forgotten your name, that maybe I'd chosen someone else to bless. But what you didn't know then, what I'm revealing now, is that during the very moments you assumed I was distant, I was behind the scenes building your deliverance. You see, I never left you. Not for a second. My silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. I was not ignoring your cries. I was preparing something greater than the answers you were hoping for. I don't always act in the ways you expect, because what you expect is often limited by what you can see. But I work from eternity. I see the entire canvas, not just the broken frame in front of you. And while you were questioning whether I cared, I was already moving pieces into place, aligning people, shifting circumstances, closing doors that looked good but would have destroyed you, and opening ones that required time, maturity, and divine timing to release. Your pain didn't go unnoticed. Your waiting didn't go unloved. In fact, the entire time you were waiting for me to show up, I was building a foundation so strong that when the blessing finally arrives, it won't collapse under pressure. What you thought with delay was actually design. What you called being forgotten was actually me shielding you from stepping into something before you were fully ready. You asked for an exit, but I was preparing a rescue that wouldn't just deliver you from one thing, it would transform you for everything to come. That's who I am. I don't just patch wounds. I rebuild from the inside out. You kept looking for signs I was near, but I was hidden in every detail. I was in the friend who checked on you out of nowhere. I was in the strength you didn't know you had. I was in the days you thought you'd break but somehow didn't. I was in the moments your hope flickered but refused to go out. And I was in the quiet, orchestrating answers you couldn't see, because what I'm doing in you isn't temporary, it's eternal. I don't give bandages when I've promised breakthroughs. And what I've been constructing on your behalf takes time, precision, and patience. You thought I was inactive, but I was doing more in those hidden seasons than you'll ever fully comprehend. The truth is, I couldn't allow you to stay where you were. Even if that meant letting you walk through hard places, I knew that some lessons could only be learned in the wilderness. I knew there were strengths you wouldn't discover until the pressure revealed them. And though I never caused the pain, I allowed the shaping. Because I love you too much to let you remain unprepared for the weight of the purpose I've placed on your life. What you called abandonment was me removing distractions so you'd lean into me more deeply. What you assumed was punishment was actually preparation. I wasn't pushing you away, I was pulling you inward. I was teaching you how to hear me when no one else's voice could soothe you. And now, the things I've been building in secret are coming into the light. The rescue I formed while you wept is approaching. The restoration you almost gave up on is already unfolding. Don't be surprised when everything starts coming together in ways that surpass your understanding. This is what I do. I take the ashes and trade them for beauty. I take what was meant to destroy and turn it into the foundation of destiny. I'm not late. I'm right on time. And I've been with you every step of the way, not as a distant observer, but as a present redeemer, preparing your rescue while you thought you were being forgotten. There are moments when heaven begins to shift things so powerfully that standing still is no longer an option. What is approaching in your life isn't going to pause until you feel completely ready. It isn't designed to accommodate your hesitations. It isn't going to slow down until you feel brave. Because what's on its way is not dependent on your emotions, it's waiting on your alignment. I'm not asking you to feel prepared. I'm asking you to choose. There's a difference. Comfort will always give you reasons to delay, but decision creates movement even in the face of uncertainty. I've never asked you to be fearless. I've asked you to be faithful. You've been measuring yourself against an image of perfection, telling yourself you'll step forward when you've got it all together. But the truth is, no one ever steps into purpose fully assembled. Growth happens in the going. Power is released in the doing. Breakthrough begins in the deciding. Right now, what I've planned for you is waiting not on some future version of you, but on your yes today. Not on you feeling like a warrior, but on you choosing to believe that I will equip you for everything that lies ahead. The path won't become clear until you take the first step. That's how I work. I honor movement born out of trust more than preparation born out of fear. You've been asking me to open the door. I already have. What you don't realize is that you've been staring at what you prayed for, but fear has kept you analyzing instead of acting. I've placed the opportunity, the direction, the calling all within reach. But it will not manifest through passivity. It requires a decision. And not just any decision, a committed one. One that doesn't lean on circumstances to remain strong but leans on my word even when storms come. Because the doors I open are meant for those who walk by faith, not by sight. You want clarity. I want commitment. And once you decide, the clarity will follow. Comfort will whisper, wait until it feels easier. But I say to you, the ease isn't coming first, the obedience is. What's coming is too urgent, too heavy with divine purpose, too soaked in eternal weight to be governed by human hesitation. This isn't just about your journey. It's about the impact your obedience will have on others. There are people whose breakthroughs are tied to your decision. There are chains that will break because of the yes you release. There are destinies that won't begin until you step into yours. It's not just about your peace, it's about their freedom too. And heaven is watching. The world may not see the moment you choose, but all of creation will respond when you do. This is your turning point, the place where you shift from passivity into participation. You've waited long enough for everything to feel just right. But what I've prepared won't wait on your emotions to stabilize. It's activated by your choice. Your decision is the signal to heaven that you are ready for what I've been storing. And I will meet your step of faith with supernatural strength. You don't have to make things happen, I will. But I require your movement. I need you to release the illusion that safety lies in staying still. The truth is, the danger lies in delay. Because delay can numb you. It can deceive you into thinking your window of calling will always be open. But that window is tied to timing. And timing is shifting now. So choose, not later, not tomorrow, now. Decide to follow me, even with trembling hands. Decide to walk through the fear instead of waiting for it to vanish. Decide to silence the voices of doubt and tune into the voice of destiny. What's coming will stretch you, yes. But it will also fulfill you like nothing else has. I'm not asking you to have it all mapped out, I've already written the map. I'm simply asking you to move, because what I've prepared is already on its way. And it's waiting not for your comfort, but for your decision. I know how deeply it hurts when those you trusted start to pull away. I see the confusion that wraps itself around your heart when the people you thought would remain suddenly begin to disappear. I understand the weight of loneliness, the sting of abandonment, and the ache of unmet expectations. You didn't plan to walk alone. You envisioned support, partnership, loyalty, and instead you found yourself carrying a calling that others can't seem to understand. But hear me clearly. Their absence does not mean my approval has lifted. Their silence does not reflect my voice. Just because they no longer walk beside you does not mean you took a wrong turn. Some paths are designed to narrow so that your focus sharpens, your dependence increases, and your connection to me deepens in ways that crowds could never offer. Not everyone is assigned to every chapter of your journey. Some were meant to be part of your preparation, not your elevation. Some were positioned in your life to build your foundation, but they cannot walk with you into the fulfillment of what I've placed inside you. It's not betrayal when I allow separation, it's divine refinement. When people fall away, it often clears space for me to draw nearer. You don't need many to agree with you. You just need to keep agreeing with me. I never required a crowd to confirm what I already called you to do. And I didn't give your assignment to a group, I gave it to you. So if you're watching others walk away, don't let your faith walk out with them. There is a special kind of courage I am forming in you, a strength that doesn't collapse when applause fades or support vanishes. I'm building in you a stability that doesn't depend on external validation. And yes, I know it's painful. I know you miss the conversations, the shared dreams, the warmth of knowing someone was standing in agreement with you. But I am not cruel. I don't remove people from your life to punish you, I remove them when their presence would interfere with what I am about to release. Some could not handle the weight of your purpose. Others may have unknowingly become distractions. And some simply are not ready to walk at the pace your calling requires. Do not chase what I've released. Do not mourn what I've moved. You are not losing, you're being aligned. Your steps are not misdirected. They are ordered. And sometimes I must walk you through a season of separation so that you begin to recognize that I alone am enough. When you learn how to stand without depending on human crutches, you begin to rise with a power that can only come from intimacy with me. That kind of strength cannot be imitated. It's forged in solitude. It's developed in moments when all you have left is me, and then you find out that's more than enough. And from that place, I raise up voices, connections, partnerships that don't just accompany you for comfort but support you for kingdom. I don't leave gaps in your life without preparing something far greater to fill them. So, stand even if it's lonely. Stand even if you feel misunderstood. Stand even when you are the only one in the room carrying a fire no one else recognizes. I will honor that kind of faith. I will reward that kind of obedience. I will send the right ones in the right time. But for now, if the path feels narrow, It's because you are being led by my Spirit, not by the approval of others. And you will never walk alone. I am always beside you, even in the silence, even in the distance, even in the ache of being left behind by those you thought would stay. I haven't left. I never will. I'm not walking away, I'm walking you forward. To keep going. Not everyone needs to see it. Not everyone needs to believe in it. But I do. And I see you still standing even after the separation. And that, my child, is strength not made by man, but born from heaven itself. Here is a kind of strength I give that defies logic. It's not drawn from physical might or rooted in human confidence. It's poured out from heaven directly into the soul of the surrendered. You won't always feel it in your muscles or see it reflected in your circumstances, but it will rise from the deep places inside you when everything around you says you should have already collapsed. My strength does not operate on the same terms as the world's. The world celebrates visible power, crowds, achievements, declarations. But the strength I give is often invisible to the eye, yet undeniable in its impact. It's the strength that helps you take one more step when you feel like you hit your limit. It's the grace to endure when others walk away. It's the quiet courage to keep believing when hope feels fragile. His strength is not something you earn, it's something I provide. Not once, not occasionally, but daily. And sometimes moment by moment. The strength I give flows not from your own ability, but from your connection to me. I am not looking for your performance. I am looking for your dependence. The world might misunderstand that. They will call it weakness when you lean on me. They will question your resolve when you admit your need for me. But in my kingdom, humility is power, and reliance on me is the highest form of wisdom. I never asked you to impress me. I invited you to abide in me. And it's in that abiding that your spirit will find a reserve of resilience that cannot be drained by trials or time. You felt it before, those moments when you didn't think you could go on, yet somehow you did. When peace held your heart steady even when your life was shaking. That wasn't coincidence. That was my strength. That was my Spirit reinforcing your spirit. When others look at you and wonder how you're still standing, they won't be able to comprehend that what carries you is not visible. It's not external. It's me, living within you, strengthening your resolve, renewing your mind, anchoring your soul. The strength I give doesn't look like shouting or striving. Often, it looks like stillness, like calm trust when the winds rise. And in that quiet strength, there is power that hell cannot shake. Don't wait until you feel strong to move forward. Move forward, and you will find strength rising as you go. I'm not asking you to conjure it up, I'm telling you I'm placing it within you. It will come in ways that surprise you. A verse that breathes new life into your tired heart. A song that reminds you I'm near. A sudden sense of clarity when confusion was clouding your vision. These are not small moments, they are holy interventions. I am not distant from your struggle. I am infused into your spirit. And the strength I give is not meant to carry just your body, it's meant to carry your purpose. You were never meant to push your way through this life alone. I didn't create you to survive by sheer willpower. I created you to walk in supernatural grace. That's why you felt empty when you tried to do it all in your own strength. It was never yours to carry alone. I am your source, and my power works best in surrender, not in striving. My strength doesn't ask you to ignore your pain, it lifts you in it. My power doesn't erase your humanity, it fills it with divinity. That's why you can be weak and still win, broken and still becoming, tired and still triumphant. So don't measure yourself by your energy. Don't define your progress by what you can see. Instead, trust that I am infusing you with strength that builds from the inside out. You may not feel it in the moment, but wait. You'll look back and realize you endured what should have ended you. You overcame what tried to consume you. Not because you were strong on your own, but because I kept pouring into you when you had nothing left to give. And I will keep doing it. As long as you keep leaning on me, you will never run dry. This strength is not temporary, it's eternal. And it is yours, always, because I am yours forever. I am not speaking now to frighten you. I am not pressing on your heart to shake you into dread. That is not who I am. I do not use terror to pull you near. I use truth, and truth carries a weight that cannot be ignored. What you feel rising in your spirit right now is not anxiety, it's awakening. I'm not warning you to provoke panic. I'm calling you because the hour demands action. There is a difference between fear and urgency. Fear paralyzes. Urgency propels. I am not trying to scare you into submission. I am trying to awaken you into alignment. What I am stirring in you is not meant to make you run from me. It's meant to pull you back to the place you were always meant to walk in. The time you are living in is shifting rapidly. Events are unfolding. Atmospheres are changing. Spiritual climates are thickening. And while many are distracted by surface-level movements, I am speaking to the hearts that still feel the tremble of the spirit beneath the noise. You have been sensing that something is growing near you, just couldn't name it. But I am naming it now. It's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your assignment. The urgency you feel is not a storm approaching. It is the sound of heaven drawing close. You are being positioned, prepared, and pulled into alignment for something I've long set in motion. But I need you to move now. Not because I'm rushing you, but because delay at this point carries consequences not just for you, but for others I've assigned to your influence. You've been praying for purpose, for clarity, for direction, and I've been giving you signs, confirming steps, opening doors, realigning relationships. But purpose requires response. I cannot walk it out for you. I will walk with you, yes. I will strengthen you, I will guide you, but I will not override your will. You must choose. You must rise. You must respond, not later. Not someday, but now. Heaven is shifting things into place, and I want you standing in the center of what's coming, not watching from the sidelines because comfort delayed your decision. This is urgent, not because I want you to panic, but because I don't want you to miss what was always yours to carry. I am not angry, I am passionate. I am not pressuring you, I am prioritizing you. Because I see the timeline from eternity. I see what's rising in the background. I see what the enemy is plotting. I see the windows that are opening and the ones that are closing. And because I love you, because I've marked you, because I've anointed you for something greater than you know, I'm speaking now with a voice that cuts through the fog of doubt and demands a response. You have a role to play that no one else can fill. You carry pieces of my heart that were meant to be revealed through your life. And if you keep pushing this off, if you keep silencing the tug on your spirit, you will find yourself living below the level of your calling, watching others step into places you were meant to occupy. That's not a threat. It's a plea. Not to scare you, but to snap you out of the sleep that has dulled your passion. You were not created to wander in circles. You were not placed here to delay destiny. You were crafted for movement, for impact, for obedience that produces supernatural harvest. And now is that time. Let this moment be the one where everything changes, not because of fear, but because you finally feel the weight of heaven's urgency. I am still here. The door is still open. The invitation is still extended. But don't treat my call casually. Don't wait until comfort catches up with conviction. Let this message shake you not into panic, but into purpose. Let it stir you not into anxiety, but into action. You are needed now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel qualified. Now. Because what's coming will not wait for the reluctant, but it will empower the obedient. I don't desire fragments of your attention, slivers of affection, or pieces of your obedience scattered between distractions. I am calling for your full heart, not because I demand control, but because I long for intimacy. I don't want the version of you that only appears when life falls apart. I want the real you, the raw, unfiltered, unedited self that you often hide from the world. I want your heart when it's strong and when it's broken, when it's full of joy and when it's trembling in fear. I want you completely, not because I need anything from you, but because I created you to walk in fullness, not in fragments, not in halfway love, not in occasional surrender. You've given bits of yourself to so many things. Your time has been divided, your energy stretched, your emotions entangled in pursuits that never truly satisfied. And when all of it left you empty, you still tried to come to me holding only what was left over. But I never asked you to approach me when you're perfect. I ask you to come when you're present. I'm not interested in your performance, I desire your presence. Your wholehearted response is the key to unlocking the flow of my spirit in your life. When you give me everything, I will fill every space with my peace, my power, my purpose. But when you withhold, even just a little, you will always feel like something is missing. This is not about religion. This is about relationship. And no relationship can thrive on partial attention. I know when your lips speak one thing but your soul is elsewhere. I know when you sing with your mouth but doubt with your thoughts. I see the hesitation behind your worship, the fear beneath your prayers, the resistance behind your obedience. And I'm not here to shame you, I'm here to invite you deeper. Because when your heart is split, your peace will always be incomplete. When you try to serve me and still cling to what contradicts me, you'll be torn between who I made you to be and who the world convinced you to become. The whole heart means surrender without conditions. It means choosing me even when you don't have all the answers. It means following my voice when it contradicts your logic. It means loving me not just in the light, but in the valley too. I know that scares you. I know full surrender feels like risk. But what you call risky, I call freedom. Because what you give me, I redeem. What you release, I multiply. What you surrender, I transform. You're afraid that giving me everything means losing control, but what you'll gain is a life far beyond what your control could ever create. A heart fully mine becomes a vessel fully filled. I am not distant. I am not complicated. I am right here, knocking, not on your schedule, not on your rituals, but on the core of who you are. I want to dwell, not visit. I want to build and not borrow. I want you not just the you others approve of, but the you I designed in the secret place. The one who still believes in purpose. The one who still longs for more. The one who hears me in the quiet but wonders if it's too late to fully respond. It's not too late, but it will require your whole heart. You can't mix me with idols and expect clarity. You can't hold on to the world with one hand and heaven with the other and expect peace. A divided heart is an exhausted heart. And I love you too much to let you keep living that way. I'm calling you out of that tension. I'm calling you into devotion. Not to restrict you but to free you. Because you've tasted bits of me before, but I want to show you the fullness. And that requires all of you, not to burden you but to bless you with what only comes when nothing is withheld. So this is not just a gentle suggestion, it's a divine invitation. Give me your whole heart. Not pieces. Not conditions. Not moments. All of it. And I will give you more than you ever knew was possible. I'm ready. I'm waiting. The only question left is, will you respond fully? You're surrounded by voices, constantly pulling at your attention, each one promising clarity, but leaving you more confused. A noise has become so familiar that silence feels foreign. Every screen, every scroll, every opinion is shaping your atmosphere until you can no longer tell which thoughts are yours, which emotions are reactions, and which direction is truly divine. But in the midst of all that volume, I am still speaking. My voice hasn't changed. My tone hasn't wavered. My message hasn't been drowned out, it's just been crowded by everything else. I don't compete for attention the way the world does. I whisper not because I'm weak, but because I'm close. And it takes a heart that's still enough to notice me. I won't shout above the chaos, not because I'm distant, but because my presence invites pursuit, not panic. You've been tuning into so many frequencies, hoping one of them will give you peace. But peace doesn't come from volume. It comes from alignment. My voice doesn't come with noise, it comes with weight. It's the anchor you've been needing in a whirlwind of information, emotion, and expectation. You can hear me again. You haven't lost the ability. You've just been distracted, pulled in 100 directions, listening to too many conflicting messages that claim authority over your decisions. But only one voice created you. Only one voice sustains you. Only one voice truly knows where you're meant to go, and that voice is mine. You may wonder, why is it so hard to hear you? But I ask you, have you made room? Have you slowed down enough to recognize my whisper? I've been there in the early morning thoughts, in the nudge before the decision, in the feeling you can't quite explain that pushes you toward righteousness when convenience tries to take the lead. I've been speaking through your conscience, your dreams, the scriptures you scroll past but were meant for that exact moment. I'm not silent, I'm subtle. And the more you tune in, the clearer I'll become. Just like tuning an instrument, it takes time and attention. But once you're aligned, the harmony that follows can silence the storm around you. There's a reason why I don't speak like the world. The world demands your urgency. I invite your presence. The world wants to stimulate you, I want to steady you. The world talks over itself, but I speak to the depths of your spirit. And when you hear me, truly hear me, something shifts inside you that no volume from the outside can compete with. That's when decisions become easier. That's when fear loses power. That's when confidence rises not from hype, but from hearing the one who formed you speak purpose into your next step. My voice is your compass, not your confusion. You don't need to go somewhere special to hear me. You just need to quiet what's unnecessary. You'll find me in the mundane moments, in the drive to work, in the pause before sleep, in the seconds before you respond to someone with kindness or correction. My voice is not distant thunder, it's the familiar rhythm you've known deep down since the beginning, the voice that has been guiding you your whole life, even when you didn't realize it. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be divine. What you need isn't more noise, it's more noticing. So come away for a moment. Not forever, just long enough to hear me again. Step out of the flood of opinions. Pause the frantic motion. Mute the lies that say I'm far away. I'm not far. I'm not delayed. I'm not waiting for you to earn the right to hear me. I'm just waiting for the volume of the world to die down enough so your spirit can remember what my voice sounds like. And once you hear it, once you lock into that frequency, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. I don't just give direction, I give rest. I give security. I give assurance that isn't shaken by popular opinions or shifting circumstances. So tune in again, my beloved. I haven't stopped speaking. You were just listening to too many echoes. But here I am, steady, present, still speaking your name. You stood in rooms where your faith made you the outcast. You've walked through days when the very light you carried was the reason others turned away. Your convictions made you different, and instead of being celebrated, you were questioned. Yadu. Laugh at. There were moments you felt small, not because you lacked strength, but because standing alone made your spirit weary. And though you pressed on, quietly, without applause or recognition, the weight of rejection left marks you didn't know how to name. But I saw it all. Every time they misunderstood you, every word they spoke against you, every glance that carried judgment, I was there. And I want you to know, none of it was wasted. Heaven has recorded it all, not to shame them, but to remind you that what they laughed at, I have already chosen to elevate. I do not measure you by popularity. I do not validate you by public opinion. You were never meant to be molded by approval from people who cannot see the anointing you carry. I place something inside of you that does not conform to the patterns of this world. That's why the crowd doesn't get it. That's why some walk away. That's why others labeled you things I never called you. But here's what I want you to hold on to. Every mockery, every dismissal, every moment you were pushed aside is now becoming the platform I will use to reveal my glory through you. I am not ignoring what you've endured, I am turning it into honor. When they mocked you, they weren't mocking weakness, they were reacting to my presence within you. Your obedience disrupted their comfort. Your light irritated their darkness. Your faithfulness exposed what they were unwilling to confront in themselves. And that's why they spoke. That's why they laughed. But do not confuse their words with truth. Their opinions are not the verdict over your destiny. I am the one who speaks the final word, and I say you are chosen, appointed, favored, and beloved. They may have thrown stones of criticism, but I am placing a crown of righteousness. They may have closed doors, but I am opening gates no man can shut. You kept going when no one clapped. You served when no one noticed. You believed even when belief made you the minority. And now, I'm telling you the season of hiddenness is giving way to honor. Not the kind the world gives, not shallow applause that fades, but divine affirmation that will mark you in such a way that even your enemies will have no choice but to acknowledge that my hand is upon you. I don't forget those who remain loyal in obscurity. I don't overlook those who choose integrity when compromise would have been easier. I'm not blind to what you've sacrificed to walk with me. And soon, the very places where you were mocked will become the grounds where I showcase my glory through you. This isn't revenge, it's restoration. This isn't pride, it's vindication from heaven. I don't lift you to prove them wrong. I raise you to prove that I am faithful to those who stay the course. I will honor what they dismissed. I will bless what they belittled. I will expand what they ignored. Because I saw your heart when no one else did. And I don't just reward results, I reward resilience. You kept choosing me when it wasn't easy, and now I'm choosing to reveal what has been developing in you behind the scenes. They may have mocked the process, but they'll witness the promise. So lift your head. Shake off the shame. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to explain what they don't have the capacity to understand. Just keep walking. Keep worshiping. Keep doing what I've called you to do. Because heaven is not just watching, it's preparing to release a wave of honor that outweighs every wound. I'm about to bring you into spaces where your name will be spoken not with ridicule, but with reverence. Not because of who you are, but because of who I am in you. And nothing they said can stop what I'm about to do. You stood at what felt like the edge, watching everything you once leaned on crumble around you. You felt the heavy silence of endings, the closing of chapters you weren't ready to finish, the sudden shifts that left you breathless, the ache of dreams that slipped through your fingers before they ever had the chance to live. You've mourned things no one else knew you lost. And deep down, a quiet voice whispered, "This must be the end." But I want you to hear me now. What looks like the finish line to you is where I begin unfolding my greatest work. My ways don't operate within the limits of human expectations. I use the broken, the ended, the buried places as the very ground where new life begins. You've been conditioned to believe that closed doors and losses are signs of failure. But I don't see endings as defeat, I see them as sacred transitions. I never stop writing when a page turns. I author redemption stories from the ashes of disappointment. You may not have seen it coming. You may have thought everything was finally coming together only to feel like it all fell apart. But nothing has unraveled beyond my sight. What you didn't anticipate, I already made provision for. And though it feels like you're standing in a graveyard of what once was, I am not done. In fact, this is where I begin building something brand new. There's a reason why I allow certain chapters to close, even when you prayed they wouldn't. Sometimes what you're holding onto is too small for what I'm about to do. Sometimes the structure you built around a former season can't support the weight of the calling that's coming next. And yes, it hurts to let go. I know how tightly you held on to what you thought was the promise. But I never asked you to place your hope in outcomes, I asked you to place your hope in me. I'm not bound to the methods you imagined. I'm not restricted by the timing you assumed. And I'm not finished when life writes the word end. I write resurrection where others see ruin. I specialize in beginnings that grow out of endings. Where man gives up, I give birth. Where the world closes in, I make room. When it feels like the light has spun out, that's when I start kindling the next fire. You think the silence means I've gone quiet, but I've only gone deeper. I'm doing a work inside you right now, one that can't be rushed. One that requires stillness, surrender, and trust. You're standing in the space between what was and what will be, and I know it feels uncertain. But if you'll allow me to lead you through this valley, I'll show you that nothing truly ends in my presence, everything transforms. Remember, I raised the dead. I parted waters. I called life out of places everyone else abandoned. Why would your situation be any different? Do you think I've lost my power? Or have you forgotten that I am the God who brings purpose out of pain, beauty from ashes, strength from sorrow? You are not disqualified by this ending, you are being redirected. You are not finished, you are being redefined. This is not your downfall, it's your doorway. I'm not erasing your past, I'm reworking it into a foundation that will carry what's next. So take a deep breath. Don't bury your hope here. Plant it. Because what you thought was the final chapter is only the setup for a new story that I've been longing to reveal. And this story will carry more glory, more wisdom, more authority than what you just left behind. I haven't forgotten your prayers. I haven't abandoned the promises. I've simply shifted the path so the result will be greater than what you asked for. You're not at the end, my child. You're at the edge of the beginning. You've been searching for me in places I'm no longer occupying. You've been staring at ruins, hoping they'll rebuild themselves. Holding on to fragments, praying they'll form something whole again. I see you trying to resurrect what I've already released you from. I see you standing in the middle of dust and disappointment, asking if I'm still there. But my child, I'm not in the rubble, I'm ahead of you, calling you to lift your eyes. You keep looking down, studying what's falling apart, thinking that's where you'll find the answer. But I'm not in the collapse. I'm in the elevation that follows surrender. I'm not asking you to salvage what I've allowed to break. I'm inviting you to stop searching for me in what's passing and start seeking me in what's eternal. When you look down, all you see is what's lost. You feel the weight of endings, the ache of change, the emptiness of once familiar things now fading. But when you look up, everything shifts. Your perspective is lifted. Your spirit is recentered. Because I don't speak from the ground, I speak from above. I'm not confined to broken structures or failed expectations. I don't dwell in places where pride was built and truth was sacrificed for comfort. I will never ask you to worship what I've torn down, and I will not pour new wine into old wineskins. That's why I allow certain things to crumble, not to punish you, but to free you. Because until you release what is no longer aligned with me, your hands won't be open to receive what is. Some things had to fall. Some doors had to close. Some chapters had to end, not because they were bad, but because they were over. You've outgrown the space that once felt secure. And the longer you cling to it, the more you delay the unfolding of what's next. I didn't bring you this far to watch you build altars around memories. I'm not where I used to be, I'm in your tomorrow. I'm in your elevation. I'm in your next assignment. And I'm calling you to look up, not just physically, but spiritually. Shift your gaze from what you thought you needed and fix your eyes on me, the one who never changes, never leaves, never stops leading. Looking up is not denial, it's realignment. It's the discipline of refocusing when everything below feels uncertain. The enemy wants your eyes on the disaster because he knows vision is born from where you focus. He wants you trapped in the cycle of analyzing what's gone wrong so that you miss what I'm doing right now. But I'm not in the storm, I'm above it. I'm not in the confusion, I'm bringing clarity. And when you lift your eyes, you'll start to feel it. My peace breaking through your fear. My promises pulling you higher. My presence anchoring you beyond what makes sense. You were never meant to live with your head bowed in defeat. I created you to walk upright, with a lifted chin and a heart full of trust. When you lift your eyes, you're reminded that you're not alone in this, that you're still covered, that you're still chosen, that I'm still on the throne. You'll begin to recognize the signs I've been sending, the confirmations you missed while staring down. You'll see the doors that were always there, just hidden beneath the weight of what you refused to let go. And you'll understand that I haven't left you, I've just been waiting for you to shift your focus. So today I say it again, look up. Not to ignore the pain, but to rise above it. Not to pretend it didn't hurt, but to remember it didn't defeat you. I'm not buried beneath what you lost, I'm standing in what you're about to step into. And as you lift your eyes, you'll begin to hear me more clearly. You'll start walking lighter. You'll stop chasing things that can't carry your future. And you'll realize that what crumbled wasn't the end, it was a release. I'm not finished. I'm just getting started. But I need you to look where I'm leading, not where I've already moved on. Lift your eyes, and you will find me waiting, ready to take you into the next level of glory that's been prepared all along. You've searched in every direction, knocked on countless doors, and chased solutions through every method the world offered. You've strategized, adjusted, overanalyzed, and exhausted yourself trying to fix what only I can restore. You've looked for answers in people, performance, ambition, even in self-reliance. And though some of it gave temporary relief, none of it brought lasting peace. You fought to stay in control because control gave you the illusion of safety. But deep down, you know you're tired. Not just physically, but in your soul. You weren't designed to carry the weight of everything. You weren't meant to solve what I've already redeemed. And now, I'm whispering what you've resisted the most, not a new strategy, not a new plan, but something far simpler and far more powerful. Surrender. You've done so much. And I've seen it all. I've watched you persist when others quit. I've seen the way you've tried to hold it together, piece by piece, day by day, even when no one knew what it cost you. But striving has its limit. Human strength has a ceiling. And though your effort was not in vain, there's a place I want to take you that your striving can't reach, only surrender can. This is not giving up. This is giving into me, to my will, to my timing, to my plan that's far better than anything you've been trying to build on your own. What I want from you isn't more action, it's release. You think surrender means loss, but it's actually where you find your life. When you finally let go of needing to control the outcome, you'll start to experience the outcome I've been trying to bring all along. You'll discover peace that no performance can earn. You'll uncover strength that doesn't burn out. You'll receive wisdom that doesn't waver with emotion. Because when you let me take the lead, you step into rest without retreating and victory without resistance. The blessing is not in the battle, it's in the bowing of your will to mine. That's where the real breakthrough begins. You've asked me to move, to act, to change the situation. But now I'm asking you to do what you've avoided most, lay it down. Not as a last resort, but as your first response. Let me take the weight. Let me carry what's crushing you. Let me heal what you've tried to numb. Surrender doesn't mean apathy. It means trust. It means you finally admit that my way's not just better, it's the only way that leads to lasting freedom. And I am not standing above you demanding submission, I am kneeling beside you, asking you to let me in. Not into part of your life, all of it. You see, surrender isn't just an act, it's a posture of the heart. It means no longer holding anything back. No more if it makes sense. No more once I feel ready. It's saying, here it is, Lord, even the parts I'm scared to let go of. That's where transformation begins. That's when the walls fall. That's when the fire falls. That's when you stop managing and start maturing. You're not losing yourself when you surrender. You're finally discovering who you are in me. And I promise you this, what I do with what you surrender will always be more beautiful, more fruitful, more eternal than anything you could have built by your own hand. The moment you release control is the moment I release clarity. And not only clarity, but movement. Supernatural acceleration, unexplainable favor, divine peace. But it all starts with this one invitation: surrender. Not tomorrow. Not after another attempt on your own. No. This is the moment. The threshold. The turning point. You've tried everything else. Now, try what I've been asking all along. Lay it down. Not in defeat, but in faith. I'm not here to watch you fall apart. I'm here to carry you into wholeness. You don't have to hold it anymore. I will. Just open your hands and let me be God. You spent so long measuring your future by your failures. as if the weight of your past somehow outweighs the power of my sacrifice. You've believed the voice that told you your mistakes are final, that your regrets define you, that your brokenness has disqualified you from what I've called you to carry. But I want to tell you with authority, every chain that once wrapped around your soul, guilt, shame, addiction, insecurity, rejection, is no match for the freedom I secured for you on the cross. The chains may have marked your history, but they cannot dictate your destiny. What bound you yesterday does not have the final say over who you are today or where you are going tomorrow. I broke those chains with blood that doesn't fade. I shattered their grip with a love that doesn't change. The cross was not symbolic. It was final. When I said, "It is finished," I wasn't just speaking over sin in general, I was speaking over your bondage specifically. Every sin you buried, every battle you silently endured, every label the world put on you, every lie you believed they were nailed there, too. And when I rose, they stayed buried, but you rose with me. You didn't just receive forgiveness, you received authority. You've been walking as if you're still shackled, when the chains are already gone. You've been asking me to free you from something that's already lost its power. The only thing giving those chains life now is your agreement with their voice. But I'm speaking a different word over you. I'm saying, you are free. You may still feel the echoes of those chains. Habits may still try to whisper their way back in. Memories may visit like ghosts. But feeling something doesn't mean it owns you. Your freedom isn't based on emotion, it's based on my victory. And that victory is unshakable. The cross wasn't partial. It didn't leave room for unfinished battles. It completed the work. The same power that raised me from the grave now lives in you. That power doesn't yield to fear, to failure, or to the past. That power liberates. And I've placed it within you so that every step you take isn't marked by what once held you, but by who now lives in you. The enemy will try to convince you that you're still bound. He'll use familiar triggers, old environments, and lingering thoughts to make you believe that nothing has really changed. But he's not fighting you because you're still trapped, he's fighting you because you're free, and freedom threatens his control. You're dangerous to darkness now. That's why the attacks feel heavier after you said yes to me. It's not a sign that you failed, it's confirmation that you shifted into alignment. Don't retreat. Don't revisit the cells I already unlocked. Walk boldly through the door I open, and don't look back. There is no chain, no curse, no generational pattern too strong for the one who conquered death itself. I didn't just forgive you, I broke the very structure of what once enslaved you. Your bloodline may carry patterns, but your spirit carries my name. You are no longer defined by your mistakes, you are defined by my mercy. You are not chained to shame, you are sealed with promise. What once limited you is now a platform for my glory. And what once held you down will soon become a testimony of how high I've lifted you. So stop waiting to feel free. Start living from the truth that you already are. The cross is more than a symbol, it's your declaration. It's your victory. It's your new beginning. You don't have to earn your freedom, it's already paid for. You don't have to fix yourself before receiving it, it's already finished. Just believe. Just receive. Just walk like someone who's been set loose, because that's exactly who you are. The chains are gone. The grave is empty. And your story has just begun. There have been words spoken over you that linger like shadows, some whispered in private, others shouted in moments of pain. Words that cut, that branded your heart with doubt, that wrapped themselves around your identity like chains disguised as opinions. They may have called you weak, unworthy, a failure, too broken, too much, not enough. They may have misjudged your silence, mocked your growth, dismissed your efforts, or distorted your story. But I want you to hear me clearly now. None of that reflects the truth of who you are. What they said may have wounded you, but it does not define you. Their perception is not your identity. Their narrative is not your name. I have something different to say, and my voice is the one that carries eternal authority. I call you redeemed. I call you chosen. I call you my own. While others spoke from wounded places in themselves, I speak from perfect love. I speak from the beginning where I first formed you with intention. I speak from eternity where your destiny is already sealed in my hands. The world looks at your past, your imperfections, your weaknesses, and draws conclusions. But I see deeper. I see the layers no one else has access to. I see the way your heart still wants to rise despite what you've been through. I see your desire to please me even when you fall. I see your longing to be seen, to be known, to be loved without conditions. And I want you to know that you already are. Don't confuse their judgment with my justice. I don't base my opinion of you on how well you perform. I don't use shame as motivation. I don't echo the insults you've heard in your darkest moments. My correction is never humiliation. My discipline is never destruction. When I speak to you, I build brick by brick, truth by truth, until your life becomes the reflection of who I always knew you were beneath the debris. The labels they put on you were often projections of their own pain. But I've never mistaken your identity. I've never had to revise my love for you. What I've spoken over you still stands. You've carried names that were never yours to bear. You've replayed conversations that weren't rooted in my heart. But today, I'm asking you to lay them down. Every cruel word, every distorted label, every lie that tried to take root. Bring them to me. I will trade them for truth. You are not forgotten, you are seen. You are not invisible, you are marked with purpose. You are not a mistake, you are a masterpiece under construction. And I'm not done shaping you yet. I know it's hard to erase words once they've been etched into memory. I know how deeply they can dig when spoken by people you trusted. But I want you to know this. I'm rewriting the story. I'm re-recording the soundtrack that plays in your soul. Where they said you were a burden, I say you are a blessing. Where they said you were too far gone, I say you are being restored. Where they spoke over you with condemnation, I speak over you with commissioning. You are not disqualified, you are being equipped. You are not unwanted, you were handpicked by heaven. Let my voice rise louder than theirs. Let it drown out the echoes that have haunted your progress. Listen not to those who only knew your wounds, listen to the one who holds your healing. I will not leave you in the shadow of someone else's judgment. I'm calling you out not into shame, but into identity, into peace, into confidence that's not arrogant, but anchored. When I speak your name, it's laced with destiny. It's saturated with love. It's charged with the authority of the one who knew you before the world tried to rename you. So release what they said. Release what you've repeated to yourself. Take hold of what I say instead. Because my words are not suggestions, they are truth. And truth doesn't just speak, it sets free. Today is the day you silence the false narratives. Today is the day you walk forward in who I say you are. You've spent far too many hours wondering if you're enough in the eyes of people who were never meant to measure your worth. You've adjusted your voice, reshaped your actions, and questioned your own value, trying to gain the approval of others' friends, family, culture, even strangers. You've given weight to their opinions, thinking that if they accepted you, maybe you would feel secure. But every time their applause faded or their silence grew louder, so did your uncertainty. And I want to tell you, with gentle authority, you never needed their approval to begin with. Before you ever performed, impressed, or achieved, I had already declared you chosen. I didn't wait for a resume. I didn't evaluate your worth based on applause that often changes with moods, seasons, and misunderstandings. I selected you before you were aware of yourself. I set my seal on you before you ever knew what rejection felt like. And I have not changed my mind. You are not valuable because others see it, you are valuable because I said so. And when I speak, it's not temporary. It's eternal. The world assigns value based on performance and popularity, but I assign value based on identity. And your identity has always been rooted in me, not in the approval ratings of imperfect people. You've let too many no's make you question your calling. You've allowed silence to shape your confidence and criticism to silence your purpose. But I don't need anyone else to endorse what I've already ordained. I don't consult others before choosing someone for my kingdom. Their inability to see your worth does not diminish it. In fact, I often hide my greatest treasures in the most unexpected places, not to confuse you, but to protect the purity of what I've placed inside you. If everyone saw what I see, they would try to take credit for what only I can do in you. That's why I call you before they understand. That's why I send you before they accept you. There is a freedom I want you to walk in, a freedom from the weight of needing to be liked, praised, or validated by the ever-changing expectations of people. Because if you live for their approval, you will die by their rejection. But when you live for my approval, you become unshakable. Their opinions no longer hold your peace hostage. Their validation no longer controls your voice, and their acceptance no longer defines your direction. I want to break that cycle in you, the one that makes you hesitate, makes you shrink, makes you question the anointing I placed on your life every time someone misunderstands you. Being chosen doesn't mean you will be celebrated. Often, it means you will be set apart. You'll walk roads others avoid. You'll carry burdens they don't see. You'll be asked to trust me without needing confirmation from the crowd. But that is where glory is born, in the quiet places of obedience, not in the loud arenas of popularity. I didn't call you to impress. I called you to impact. And impact isn't always recognized immediately. Sometimes it's felt before it's seen. Sometimes it's resisted before it's honored. But I see every step you take. I know the cost. And I will reward what was done in faith, even if no one else applauded it. So breathe deeply and let the pressure go. You don't have to win anyone over. You're already mine. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You don't have to be accepted to be effective. My grace qualifies what others overlook. My spirit empowers what others underestimate. I am with you not just when the crowd cheers, but even more when you stand alone with trembling hands and a steady yes. I will sustain you. I will lead you. And I will prove that my choice of you was not a mistake, it was a masterpiece in motion. You are chosen. Not someday. Not if you get it all right. Not if they finally see what you carry. You are chosen now. Walk in that truth, and let every step from this moment forward reflect the confidence of someone who no longer seeks approval because they've already been called. You've been walking through seasons that feel like stretching beyond your limits. You've carried weight in your soul that others can't see, endured moments of pressure that seem relentless, and questioned if you somehow failed or fallen out of favor because things haven't been easy. But I want you to understand something sacred. The pressure you're experiencing isn't evidence that I'm punishing you, it's the process of shaping you for what I've promised. The refining isn't rejection. The tension isn't trouble. It's transformation. When you prayed for greater purpose, you didn't just receive a blessing, you entered a process. And the process almost always begins with pressure. You see, I never meant for pressure to break you. I allow it to build you. I permit it to pull out the things you didn't know you had: endurance, resilience, deeper levels of trust, and faith that isn't dependent on smooth conditions. You're being expanded from the inside out. Not because you're weak, but because I'm strengthening what will carry the next assignment I've prepared for you. There are things I've placed ahead of you that require a greater capacity, not just outwardly, but inwardly. And growth never happens without stretching. Vessels don't expand in comfort. Oil doesn't flow without crushing. Gold doesn't shine without fire. I know it doesn't feel fair. I know you've asked, why now? And why me? I know it's hard to keep going when the weight increases but the clarity hasn't arrived. But what you may see as a delay, I see as development. I am building spiritual muscles that don't atrophy when storms come. I am cultivating maturity that will collapse under pressure. I am not removing you from the process because I love you too much to leave you unprepared. I am not interested in shallow victories, I am building legacy through you. And legacy doesn't form in ease. It forms in the unseen moments where your faith stays anchored even when everything else feels like it's drifting. Pressure reveals what's hidden. It exposes both the weakness that needs my healing and the strength that you didn't realize I had already planted inside you. Every time you choose to trust me under pressure, you are training your spirit for greater authority. Authority doesn't come from titles or visibility. It comes from perseverance, from consistency, from walking through fire and still lifting your hands in worship. That kind of authority shakes the gates of hell. And that's the kind of strength I'm establishing in you. So don't interpret discomfort as abandonment. I haven't walked away. In fact, I'm closer now than ever. I'm in the refining fire with you, just as I was with the three in the furnace. I'm not watching from a distance. I'm walking beside you, whispering strength into your bones, breathing courage into your lungs. I will not allow this pressure to destroy you. I will use it to deliver you into what I've destined for you. And when the season shifts in it, you'll carry wisdom, power, and peace that you couldn't have received without what you've walked through. You're not weak for feeling weary. You're not less spiritual for struggling. You're human. But I've placed divine power in that humanity. My spirit is dwelling within you not to remove the challenge, but to empower you through it. And with every moment you remain faithful, every time you pray instead of panic, every time you worship instead of worry, you are pressing into a deeper intimacy with me that will become your foundation for everything that's coming next. This pressure has a purpose. It's not meaningless. And though it feels invisible to others, I see it. I reward it. I redeem every drop of it. What feels like a burden now will become the very testimony that unlocks doors you didn't even knock on. Keep walking. Keep trusting. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And what I'm growing in you now will bear fruit for years to come. You may feel the pressure, but soon you'll see the promise it was preparing you for. You've walked through seasons where heaven felt quiet, where prayers seemed to dissolve into the air and answers never arrived on your schedule. You searched for signs, waited for confirmations, longed for direction, but all you met was stillness. And in that silence, doubt began to whisper. You wondered if I had forgotten you. You questioned if I was displeased. You feared the silence meant you had somehow been disqualified. But I need you to hear this now. The silence was never a verdict, it was a vessel. It wasn't my absence. It was my invitation. Not to panic, but to press in. Not to retreat, but to refine your hearing. Because sometimes, the silence holds more power than noise ever could. You've learned to associate activity with progress. But in my kingdom, transformation often happens in stillness. In the quiet, I strip away the distractions. I remove the external confirmation so that your roots reach deeper into trust, not in outcomes, but in me. The silence was not a wall, it was a doorway. A threshold where I began whispering things to your spirit that couldn't be heard through the crowd of voices you'd grown used to leaning on. I wasn't ignoring you, I was speaking in a frequency that required your undivided attention. I wanted to show you that my voice isn't always loud, but it's always present. And when everything else was hushed, it made space for you to finally notice that I was there all along. It was in the stillness that I began doing the inner work, the recalibration of your heart, the alignment of your thoughts, the healing of wounds that words couldn't reach. While you were waiting for visible movement, I was reshaping invisible foundations. I was fortifying your character, sharpening your discernment, increasing your capacity to carry what's ahead. You thought the silence was a delay, but it was a deepening. I was drawing you into a kind of closeness that isn't built through answers, but through intimacy. Not because I want you confused, but because I want you confident in me, not just in outcomes. The world rushes, but I don't rush transformation. I am never late, and I am never unaware. You think nothing was happening, but your spirit was growing. You didn't feel progress, but your roots were extending beneath the surface. You didn't see change, but I was clearing the path ahead while preparing your heart to walk it. The silence was never meant to punish you, it was sacred. Holy. Designed for the moments when I pull you closer, not with noise, but with nearness. When you felt forgotten, you were actually being hidden for protection, not neglect. You didn't miss me. I was always with you in the waiting, in the wondering, In the nights you stared at the ceiling and asked me to speak. I heard every word. I caught every tear. I never stopped watching over you. But some revelations are too weighty to be delivered through noise. They require the holy hut. They require a soul willing to wait long enough for the whisper. Because I don't just want you to hear me, I want you to know me. And that knowing is forged in the quiet. So don't resent the silence. Revisit it with new eyes. Look back and see how much was actually shifting in the stillness. See how your faith became less about feelings and more about trust. See how your dependence on outcomes gave way to surrender. See how your hunger for me intensified not because of what I was doing, but because of who I was becoming to you. This was never about withholding, it was about forming something eternal. A relationship that doesn't falter when the noise fades. A faith that doesn't tremble when the answers don't come on command. You'll find that those quiet seasons were among the most fruitful because they stripped away everything false and left you clinging to what was real. And what's real is me. I am the constant when clarity is lacking. I am the presence when words are few. I am the guide when the path disappears. And I am the voice that speaks not always in thunder, but always in truth. The silence wasn't rejection. It was the sacred soil where your roots grew deep enough to hold the weight of what's next. You've been trying to get everything right, haven't you? Trying to fix what's wrong, trying to become what you think I expect, trying to reach some invisible standard of worthiness that only leaves you more exhausted. You've carried the weight of feeling like you need to be spotless before you can come close to me, like your flaws are barriers and your failures are reasons to hide. But I need you to hear this clearly. I never asked you to be perfect. I asked you to come close. I'm not waiting for you to earn a moment with me, I'm longing for you to bring me the real you, right now, as you are. Not the edited version, not the filtered presentation. Just you. Present. Honest. Willing. The lie that you have to clean yourself up before entering my presence is one of the greatest barriers to our closeness. You've absorbed the idea that holiness means flawlessness, but I see holiness as intimacy, your heart open, your soul bare, your spirit leaning in. I'm not discouraged by your weaknesses. I'm not ashamed of your past. I'm not overwhelmed by your questions. I'm not turning away when you bring me your mess. In fact, it's in your rawest moments that I draw near the fastest. Not to judge, but to embrace. Not to accuse, but to restore. I am not the God who demands performance, I'm the one who offers peace in exchange for your presence. What I desire most is not your perfection, it's your attention. I want your gaze, even when your heart is unsure. I want your voice, even if it trembles. I want your time, even if all you can give is a moment between the noise. My presence isn't earned by effort. It's found in surrender. You don't have to impress me. You don't have to try to earn access. The door is already open. I've already made the way. All I'm asking is that you come sit with me. Not to do anything. Not to prove anything. Just to be. To rest. To receive. To reconnect. You think I only want the polished parts. But I want all of you, the whole story. The tired parts. The anxious thoughts. The broken habits. The hidden dreams. The unspoken fears. I want the parts you celebrate and the parts you've buried. I want to walk with you through all of it. Because it's in the daily presence, not just the highlight moments, that I build something lasting in you. It's in the normal hours, in the in-between seconds, in the rhythms of ordinary life, where I form extraordinary closeness with my children. That's where transformation happens, not under pressure, but under presence. You've been rushing to be better when I'm just asking you to be here. Stop measuring your relationship with me by how productive you feel. This isn't a transaction, it's communion. I don't clock your minutes like a taskmaster. I treasure your moments like a father. I delight in your nearness, even if your words are few. You are not disqualified by your flaws. You are invited by my love. You're not falling behind spiritually. You are being gently drawn into a better rhythm, one that isn't built on pressure, but on presence. One that breathes peace into your process, Even now, I'm here closer than your next breath. I'm not waiting for a perfect version of you to appear. I'm embracing the one who is reading these words right now, trying, striving, wondering, and hoping. Let the striving stop. Let the pressure lift. Come back to the simplicity of connection. Not because you've earned it, but because I made you for it. You're not too far. You're not too late. You're not too messy. You're mine. And that's more than enough. So just come. Come with your hands open and your heart unveiled. Come into the presence that's always been waiting, always been safe, always been enough. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for you here, now, just as you are. There's been a quiet pressure inside you, hasn't there? A lingering sense that you're running out of time, that you've missed something, that others have moved forward while you're still trying to understand what step to take. You've looked around and seen people achieving, progressing, shining, and you've wondered if you somehow fell behind in your purpose, if your delays were evidence that you've been forgotten. But I want you to listen to me now. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not off course. You are being formed according to my timing, not the clock of culture. And my timing is perfect, not rushed, not random, but intentionally aligned with eternal outcomes you cannot yet see. You've measured yourself by earthly milestones and worldly benchmarks. You've compared your pace with others, not realizing they are walking entirely different paths built on entirely different purposes. You've looked at their seasons and assumed you were meant to be there too. But what I'm building in you is not a duplicate. It's distinct. That's why it can't be measured by human calendars or societal timelines. You're not late, you're layered. I'm developing things in you that require time to mature. I'm not interested in launching you before you're rooted. I'm not concerned with speed. I'm concerned with strength. I'm not rushing to display you, I'm preparing to sustain you. You see, premature exposure leads to collapse. But when you're developed in the secret place, when your identity is formed in silence, when your character is tested away from the crowd, you emerge not with temporary success, but with unshakable purpose. I've been slowing things down, not to punish you, but to ensure you're anchored in me before the doors open. Because what's ahead of you carries weight, and I don't place precious things on unstable foundations. You've seen delay, but I've been designing depth. You've seen waiting, but I've been weaving a tapestry of timing that protects you from lesser paths that would have looked right but led you wrong. The enemy wants you obsessed with the clock, constantly distracted by the illusion that you've missed your chance. He wants you anxious about age, distracted by deadlines, consumed by the illusion that what's past has stripped you of possibility. But I work beyond time. I hold time. I redeem time. What you thought was lost, I can restore. What you think has expired, I can resurrect. I'm not just capable of giving you more time, I'm capable of making your right time more fruitful than someone else's lifetime of striving. You are not late, you are being aligned. And yes, I know there were detours. I saw the seasons you spent wandering, hurting, hesitating. But even those were not wasted. I've taken every experience, every mistake, every delay, and folded it into your development. Nothing is outside of my reach. I've used the places where you slowed down to build patience. I've used the moments of confusion to refine your discernment. I've even allowed closed doors to protect you from walking into situations that looked promising but would have drained your spirit. Every moment of seeming stillness has been part of my strategy to strengthen your foundation so that what I build next can last. So breathe. Let the pressure lift. Stop racing against someone else's journey. Trust the pace I've set for yours. I've never forgotten you. I've never taken my eyes off of you. And I've never withheld what is meant for you. I'm not preparing a rushed release, I'm preparing a refined revelation of your true calling, one that will unfold with beauty, power, and purpose in its due season. You haven't missed it, you've been molded for it. You don't need to catch up. You need only to remain close. Keep walking with me. Keep listening. Keep trusting. The path is unfolding even when it's quiet. And when the appointed moment arrives, you'll step into something so divinely timed, so deeply right, that you'll look back and realize this was never a delay. This was divine preparation. You keep thinking that more progress means more purpose. That forward movement must always be fast movement. But what I'm doing in your life right now isn't about speed, it's about stability. I'm not after a quick rise. I'm after a secure foundation. I'm not preparing you for a temporary season of fruitfulness, I'm preparing you for a lifetime of enduring impact. And to make sure what's ahead of you can stand, I have to go deep first. That's why I've slowed things down. That's why you feel like you're still in the soil while others are already blooming. But don't confuse being hidden with being forgotten. What I'm establishing beneath the surface is stronger than anything you could build in the spotlight. Rooting is not glamorous. It's quiet. It's deep. It takes time. It feels unseen. But it's where life really begins. Because without roots, growth is fragile. Without roots, you'll rise in visibility, but fall under pressure. Without roots, you'll gain influence but lose yourself. That's not what I want for you. I'm not interested in launching you into a future that your foundation can't support. I want you anchored in truth, grounded in grace, and unshakable in identity so that no storm, no criticism, no delay, and no success can move you out of my presence. I don't want to just give you opportunities. I want to prepare you to hold them. You've asked me to take you higher. But before I elevate, I always establish. And establishing takes time. I'm digging deep because I know what's coming. You don't see the full weight of the assignment ahead, but I do. I see the people you'll minister to, the decisions you'll be entrusted with, the spiritual weight you'll carry. And I don't want that weight to crush you, I want it to crown you. That's why I'm teaching you how to stand now. Not on shifting sand, but on the rock of who I am. The deeper you let me go, the higher I can lift you without losing you. Sometimes, I'll even remove the things you thought were signs of progress, not to punish, but to purify. I'll strip away the noise so you can learn to value the stillness. I'll prune areas that look productive, so the fruit you bear later is lasting. I'll allow you to face challenges that reveal your inner strength and expose your hidden fears, not because I'm cruel, but because I care too deeply to leave you fragile. Every root I grow in you now, patience, humility, obedience, endurance, is a pillar that will hold your purpose in the days to come. And while you may feel stuck, I want you to know you're not stagnant. You're being stretched, not outward but downward, into deeper intimacy, into stronger wisdom, into greater trust. I'm building a life in you that can't be uprooted by the changing winds of opinion or pressure. I'm rooting you in truth so unshakable that when I finally bring you into everything I've prepared, you'll stand with peace, speak with clarity, and move with power, not driven by emotion, but led by my spirit. So stop measuring your worth by how quickly things are happening. Stop thinking delay is denial. Stop comparing your pace to others who are running different races. You are being rooted, not rushed. And that rooting is sacred. When I'm done, you won't just have fruit, you will have foundation. You won't just experience me, you will walk with me. You won't just visit the secret place, you will live from it. And when your time of unveiling comes, the world won't just see results, they'll encounter my glory through your rooted life. Don't resist what feels slow. Embrace what I'm establishing. Let me take you deeper before you go further. Because what's built on shallow ground may rise quickly, but only what's rooted in me can stand forever. You've been holding your breath for too long, waiting for something to change before you give yourself permission to breathe deeply, to hope fully, to live freely. You've settled into a rhythm of just getting through the day. You've learned how to manage pain, how to endure chaos, how to keep walking even when joy feels distant. And yes, I see your resilience. I see the strength it took to keep going. But now, I'm calling you into something greater than survival. I didn't create you just to exist, I created you to live. Fully. Abundantly. Not in denial of hardship, but in defiance of hopelessness. not in shallow distraction, but in deep, rooted freedom. You were never meant to simply hold on until the storm passes. You were meant to rise in the middle of it, to laugh again not because everything is perfect, but because you trust the one who is present, to dream again not because you're naive, but because you know I'm the God who breathes life into dry bones. You've gotten used to scarcity of peace, of energy, of clarity, but I am the God of abundance. I'm not here to just help you endure. I came so you could have life, real life, overflowing, radiant, redeemed. Somewhere along the way, pain tried to teach you that dreaming is dangerous. Disappointment told you not to expect too much. You learned how to shrink hope to avoid heartache. But I never asked you to protect yourself from me. I never told you to build walls against possibility. That wasn't me, that was fear. And I'm not calling you to build your life around fear. I'm calling you to build on faith, to let the stone be rolled away from places you've sealed shut, to believe again, to breathe again, to live again, not later, not when the circumstances shift, but now, here, in the middle of this exact moment. You may say, how can I live when nothing is working out? But I ask you this, what if everything is being realigned so you can really live? What if I'm stripping away everything false so you can finally walk in what's true? What if I've been pulling you out of survival mode because I have no intention of letting you live a life that feels like barely enough? I don't deal in scarcity. I'm not rationing your purpose. I'm not holding back hope. I am here now, offering you a way of life that's anchored in me, not in the absence of struggle, but in the presence of my spirit. Living means choosing joy even when sorrow knocks at your door. Living means being vulnerable again even after betrayal. Living means opening your heart to me, not with conditions but with trust. You don't have to wait until you have it all figured out to live. You don't need perfect peace around you when you carry my peace within you. I've placed eternity in your heart, and that's why you can never be satisfied just existing. Your spirit knows you were made for more, and I'm inviting you into it now. So let me awaken what's been dormant. Let me stir the parts of you that you buried to protect yourself. Let me teach you how to breathe again, not the shallow breath of survival, but the deep inhale of one who knows they're held. I will not let your days pass by unlived. I will not let you drift through time, numb to beauty, deaf to joy, blind to wonder. There is glory in your story yet to be seen. There is love still waiting to be experienced. There are miracles you haven't imagined because you've been too focused on making it through. But now, I'm calling you to step out of maintenance and into movement. This isn't just about escaping darkness. It's about embracing light. It's about waking up to the fullness I've always intended for you. You don't have to earn this invitation, you only need to receive it. I didn't shed my blood so you could merely survive. I gave my life so you could live. And that life is available right now, in me. So come out of the shell. Come out of the shadow. Come in live. I'll show you how. You've been living as if I'm distant somewhere at the end of your journey, watching, waiting, measuring whether or not you will make it. You've imagined me as the God who stands beyond the struggle, holding the prize, ready to hand it out once you've proven yourself strong enough, faithful enough, successful enough. But that's not who I am. I'm not stationed at the end of your path. I'm beside you on the journey itself. I am not only the destination, I am the companion. I'm not watching from afar, I'm walking with you, shoulder to shoulder, step by step. You may not always feel me. You may think I've gone quiet or that you've taken a wrong turn. But my presence is not dependent on your awareness. It is my nature to stay close. I don't just appear in victories, I remain through valleys. I'm not only found in moments of clarity. I'm present in the confusion too. I'm there when your feet are sure, and I'm just as near when they tremble. You thought you needed to perform for me. But what I've wanted all along is simply for you to walk with me, not ahead of me, not behind me, but with me. There have been days when you were strong, when you made progress, when your faith felt unshakable, and I celebrated with you. And there were days when your spirit was heavy, when doubt clouded your vision, when you could barely put one foot in front of the other and I didn't step back. I stepped closer. You didn't see me, but I was the strength in your legs. I was the breath in your lungs. I was the peace beneath the panic. I was the whisper that kept you going when everything inside you wanted to quit. That was me, not a distant God waiting for your success, but a loving Father invested in your every move. The journey matters as much to me as the promise. I'm not obsessed with outcomes. I'm after your heart in the process. I don't measure your value by how quickly you move or how far you've gone. I see the courage it takes just to keep going. I know when you're pressing through pain. I know when your praise is a sacrifice. I know the unseen battles, the quiet tears, the silent prayers, and I walk with you through all of them. Not once have I left your side. Not once have I looked away. Not once have I grown tired of your pace. I'm not keeping score, I'm keeping covenant. I made a vow to be with you, and I've never broken it. I'm not discouraged by your detours. I'm not shocked by your setbacks. I don't need perfection to stay near. I came not to monitor your progress, but to walk you into freedom with patience, with mercy, with love that never runs out. And I don't just lead from the front, I dwell beside you in the present. Even when you feel like you're walking in circles, I'm using every step to shape you, to teach you, to reveal my heart to you in deeper ways. You don't need to fear falling behind. I'm at your pace. I don't rush ahead when you're tired. I don't scold you when you need to rest. I sit with you. I wait with you. I lift you. I love you. That's what real companionship looks like, and that's what I offer. Every moment, every mile, every quiet season, every storm. I am not somewhere up ahead, waiting for you to figure it out. I am Emmanuel, God with you right here, right now, in the middle of it all. So stop striving to catch up. Stop thinking you've disappointed me. Just take the next step with me. Don't run alone. Don't suffer in silence. Talk to me. Lean on me. Let me remind you that this walk was never yours to carry alone. The victory will be beautiful, but so is the journey. Because I'm on it with you. And that's what makes all the difference. Amen.